Now, some of you may be wondering why and to what benefit is using corrective feedback other than unmarked and marked recast to students. How do they, what is the outcome of using metalinguistic feedback or repetition or elicitation or a clarification request compared to your standard marked or unmarked recast? And the rationale for this lies in the fact that for students, acknowledging an error and then summoning the vocabulary, phonological awareness, grammatical and lexical knowledge to repair what has been pinpointed as an incorrect construction can prove quite challenging, if not impossible, for some basic language learners who are not really developed enough to clearly understand the meaning of a recast or even pinpoint the error in a longer marked recast. So you've got students who have a very limited grasp of a new language that they're learning. They have very limited vocabulary banks. They don't understand the grammatical rules or pronunciation or how words should be arranged in a sentence. And when you point out to them that they've done something wrong or said something wrong, they're basically infants with the language, and they're not able to even understand that they did something wrong. Where did I make a mistake? How did I make a mistake? What is the mistake you said I made? They're just not proficient enough with the language. So at this ability level, clarification request and repetition are more appropriate in collaborative activities because they press both learners to compile their shared knowledge in the form of an experimental construction where they're playing with the language and putting different words together and using different vocabulary terms in an experimental way. And they're also rephrasing, they're using new vocabulary, and I guess the rephrasing of a lexical segment can be trialed in this scenario. And at the occurrence of a lexical error, a clarification request combined with maybe body language signaling that there's some misunderstanding, that might be enough to trigger noticing and prompt the speaker to rephrase by substituting an alternate word. Or if the error is phonological, then repetition serves as a prodding mechanism for engaging noticing and encouraging speakers to re-clarify what it was they said, either by repronouncing the mispronounced word or rephrasing incomprehensible utterances or output. And students get to practice rephrasing with greater clarity and precision. Now, Model 2A, which is for higher ability second language learners, is similar. The sectors revolving self-regulation are identical to Model 2B, but the options and selections for corrective feedback type differ. And the reason for this is that higher ability students may possess the ability to produce output that completes the prodding of a metalinguistic clue and elicitation. And basically, your higher ability second language learners may also be able to self-correct. They might be able to answer a clarification request, and they benefit from unmarked recast as their bank of inner resources, knowledge, and experience are better stocked than that of a lower ability learner. All right, so I reckon that's enough for today. Let's look at how, if you're a language teacher, how can you take this forward in your profession and apply these scaffolds to your classroom and with your students? two things I would encourage everyone to do is at least have a go at trialing different forms of corrective feedback in your classes. See how it works. I've tried it in my classroom and with my high-level students. Sometimes feedback in the high-level template does not work, and the same for lower-level students, or sometimes it's the inverse. What should work with a higher-level student works with the lower-level kids, but, give it a try. Variety is the spice of life, and if time permits and you have students who are able, you could consider allocating some time to train students on how to deliver meaningful corrective feedback. And below on this slide, I've listed a sample template of a dialogue, and it has options on, it directs students on what type of corrective feedback to use. So I would put students into small groups of 2, 3, or 4. They're going to review or discuss what it was they did over the weekend. So one student will ask the question and the other will provide an answer. And on this template, there's a list of correct answers that the interviewer should listen for, and there's a list of incorrect answers that the interviewer might hear. And if they hear the incorrect answer, then there is a selection of the appropriate explicit or implicit feedback to give. So I think it's quite useful to at least try with students, because ultimately for lower and higher ability language learners, the rigors of enduring beneficial and slightly incomprehensible or too challenging implicit and explicit corrective feedback, I believe, serves to finesse and expand the learner's ZPD by bringing tasks that are too difficult within their cognitive reach. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to your questions in the discussion room. See you there.